Hi everybody, this is Mr. Nolan, and what I would like to be able to do with you in this video is to show you how to use Google Maps to identify physical features of different locations, places. And notice that this is Google Maps, not Google Earth. This is a different thing. Google Earth is an application that you have to download. It works a little different than Maps. They seem like they're the same. They are actually a little different. We're going to use Google Maps. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I'm in Google.com, that I've gone to Google, and I'm just going to type the name of a location in our search bar. And so maybe let's try Detroit, Michigan. And so what we want to be able to do with Google Maps is to be able to identify physical features. We're not just finding out how to get to a store or a location. We want to actually find out physical features. So if I type in Detroit, Michigan, and I click on Maps right after I've searched, I click on Maps, it's going to come up with a map, right? And that map is going to show the whole of Detroit. Now remember, the goal of this video is to identify physical features of different locations. So if you look at this map, even if I zoom in a little bit, this map doesn't really show physical features, does it? This is not, I can't tell really what's there. All I know is where the streets are, maybe where some parks are and some things, and maybe I can see some water. But if I wanted to actually see physical features, you actually have to click the satellite view. So if I go ahead and if I click the satellite view, what happens is that it shifts over from just the street map to an actual physical. This is shot from a satellite. So a satellite actually, these are photographs taken by a satellite. And nowadays, Google has actually three-dimensionalized the Google Maps tool. And so I'll show you what that means in a moment. So if let's take Corktown, for instance. If I just kind of zoom in here, you can use the wheelbar of the mouse to zoom in and out. And one thing that's really interesting about Google is that it's actually 3D now. And if you notice this tall building that I'm moving past, it actually has a three-dimensional element. And so it's almost like you're actually in a model. You're in a model of Detroit. It's pretty astonishing. But by zooming in, I can actually look at real physical features, of what it is that I'm looking at right now. And you can zoom in or out as much as you need to. So if you want to get a large scale view, I can zoom out and I can tell, okay, there's, lots of built up city industrial. Here's some more maybe residential. There's an island, sort of, it's got a park. If I go way up north where this is coming out of Detroit, we can see that this is kind of more farmland. So we can see, depending on where we go with Google Maps, just physically what's there. But I want to show you something else that's actually really exciting about Google Maps, that can give you as real of an experience of being in the location as is possible without actually being there. So if I were to zoom in, let's maybe take near this medical center. If I were to zoom in here, suppose I wanted to get a view from actually being on the street. If I were walking on the street, on the sidewalk, what would I see? Well, to do that, what you're going to do is in Google Maps, you're going to go down here to this little yellow man, or this little yellow person. And if you grab that person, as soon as you do and start dragging him out onto the screen, you'll notice that a bunch of streets will turn blue. And so will, you'll also find some little blue spots. If I drop this man into a spot, I know that might be kind of hard to see that spot there, but you'll find little blue circles. If I drop him onto one of those blue circles, I can actually see a photograph that someone actually took and posted to Google. And so this happens to be apparently inside of a doctor's office, so we don't really want to see this. But if you do want to go back somewhere else, you can actually click this little arrow right up here in the corner. And if you click that, it'll take you back to where you were. So let's say I wanted to actually see, like I said, the street view. That's what we're really interested in. I'm going to grab that little yellow man, and I can actually drop him right onto one of those streets that glow blue as soon as I grab him. And this is what is so interesting. I am now actually there. I'm actually there. I can see exactly what I would be able to see if I were physically dropped in that location. Now, these are taken by Google vans that drive around in these different areas. And so the images that you see are the images that were taken the last time that van drove through. So these are not live. It's not like there's a camera somewhere that's currently taking these pictures. These are live. So, and you can even move down the street. So if you wanted to actually move down the street a little, I can click down here, farther down to the street, and I can actually move down the street. I can even turn. I can actually, you know, if I wanted to turn that street, now it looks like I'm on, what is that, Saint Anthony Street, perhaps is what that says. And so I can actually move down the street, and I can see what is it that would actually physically be there. You can also use the bar of, or the ruler on the mouse to zoom in and out, and to see if, well, if I wanted to zoom in really close, you know, the shot is really high resolution, so you get a really good look at what's all there. And you can do this in parks, you can do this in, and as I use the roll bar, I can actually zoom out even more. You know, I can actually, you know, use this feature to get a really good sense of what sort of stuff is there in that location. If I were to take our little man and drop him, what do I see? So here it looks like I'm outside of a, you know, a baseball park. It looks a little bit like it could use some maintenance. But, you know, if I wanted to get a good look at that, I can do that just by dropping this little yellow man on one of those blue streets. So just, you know, I wanted to show you how you can use Google Maps in order to get a good look at, you know, the street view and the above view. That way you can get a sense for what is there. What would you actually see if you were in that location? So by now you should be able to use Google Maps in order to identify physical features of different locations.